before you scroll, take a breath with me. Right now, something inside you brought you here. Welcome to Therapist Live. This is more than a channel. It's a space for clarity, healing, and real emotional growth. Here, we talk about mental health, self-awareness, relationships, and the patterns that shape your life. If you're ready to understand yourself on a deeper level, subscribe now and turn on notifications because this journey starts today. Take a deep breath and let's begin. Life is suffering. It is a harsh truth, but an undeniable one. You will lose people you love. You will face illness. You will be betrayed. When you face that darkness, the temptation is to become bitter, to seek revenge, to burn it all down. We have seen what happens when people go down that path. It leads to the gulags, the school shootings, the hell on earth. But there is another way, a harder way, and it starts with the most mundane thing imaginable: cleaning your room. Why is there so much evil in the world? It's the question that has plagued humanity since we became self-conscious. It tormented Tolstoy. It tormented Solzhenitsyn in the Soviet work camps. It drives people to nihilism. If life is just pain, why bother? Why not just do whatever is expedient? Why not lie, cheat, and steal to get a moment of pleasure before the lights go out? That is a philosophy of expediency. It is the idea that I should get what I can right now, regardless of the cost to others or to my future self. It is the instinct of the predator. It is the behavior of the monkey who gets his hand trapped in a jar because he refuses to let go of the treat. But we discovered something profound in our evolutionary history. We discovered the future. We realized that if we sacrifice something valuable now, we can have something better later. We learn to work. Work is sacrifice. It is delaying gratification. It is bargaining with reality. This leads us to a fundamental rule. Pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient. Meaning is not happiness. Happiness is fleeting. It comes and goes like a side effect. Meaning is what sustains you when happiness is impossible. Meaning is what you find when you take on a burden voluntarily. Look at the story of Cain and Abel. They both make sacrifices. Abel's sacrifice is accepted. Cain's is rejected. Cain becomes bitter. He shakes his fist at God. He thinks the world is unfair. He allows resentment to fester in his heart until he commits the ultimate crime. He kills his brother. He kills the ideal. We all have a bit of Cain in us. When things go wrong, we want to blame the world. We want to blame capitalism or the government or our parents or God. We feel justified in our anger. But that path leads to destruction. It leads to the mindset of the mass shooter, who decides that humanity itself is a plague that must be eradicated. It leads to the totalitarian who decides that he knows how to fix the world. If only he could eliminate all the people who disagree with him. Before you go out and protest, before you try to reorganize the economy or the state, ask yourself, have you set your own house in perfect order? This is Rule 6, and it is a terrifying question. Have you done everything you can to fix your own life? Are you working hard? Have you made peace with your family? Are you treating your body with respect? Have you stopped doing the things you know are wrong? Solzhenitsyn, while rotting in a communist prison camp, asked himself a question that changed the world. He asked, how did I get here? He didn't blame Stalin. He didn't blame the guards. He looked back at his own life and found the lines of deceit, the small lies, the moments he turned a blind eye to the truth to fit in. He realized that the corruption of the state was fed by the corruption of the individual. He decided to clean up his own soul, right there in the squalor of the Gulag. And the book he wrote, The Gulag Archipelago, helped bring down the Soviet Union. That is the power of the individual. If you are suffering, if you are resentful, start small. Look around your room. Is there something that bothers you? Is there a pile of paperwork you've been avoiding? Is there dust under the bed? Fix it. Start with the things you can control. When you act expediently, when you lie to get out of trouble, when you procrastinate, you are borrowing from your future to pay for your present. You are creating a debt. And eventually, the bill comes due. The dragon you ignored under the rug grows until it devours the whole house. But when you pursue meaning, you are aligning yourself with the highest good. You are trying to reduce unnecessary suffering. You are trying to bring a little bit of heaven to earth. And how do you do that? You pay attention. You tell the truth. You take responsibility. Imagine if you stopped doing everything you knew was wrong, just the things you know are wrong. What would happen? Your brain would clear up. You would stop being followed by a cloud of guilt. You would become stronger. And then, when inevitable tragedies of life hit, when the hurricane comes, you would be a house built on rock, not sand. You would be able to withstand the storm. You might even be able to shelter others. This isn't about being a saint. It's about survival. It's about avoiding hell. Not the metaphysical hell of the afterlife, but the hell we create for ourselves right here on earth through bitterness, arrogance, and deceit. So, stop blaming the world for your problems. Stop trying to fix systems you don't understand. Humble yourself. Start with your own life. Pursue what is meaningful. Bear your cross. And see who you can become. In the next video, we are going to explore the primary tool you have for navigating this chaos: your speech. We will discuss why lying is a precursor to tyranny and why you must be precise in what you say. Have you ever cleaned up a part of your life and felt that shift in perspective? Tell me about it in the comments. Like, share, and I'll see you in part 4. There's a monster living under your rug. You know it's there. You've been stepping over the lump for years. You avoid looking at it. You avoid talking about it. You pretend that your marriage is fine, that your job is fine, that your soul is fine. But the lump is growing. It's getting bigger. And one day, it's not just going to trip you. It's going to devour you. Today, we're going to talk about the terrifying power of the truth, why you must be precise in your speech, and why lying is the highway to hell. We think of the world as a place made of objects: chairs, tables, cars, trees. But that's not really how we experience life. We experience the world as a place of potential. It's a chaotic, swirling mess of things that could happen, things that might happen, and things that are happening. And how do we make sense of it? How do we turn that chaos into something we can use, something we can walk on, something we can live in? We speak. This is Rule 10. Be precise in your speech. And it is inextricably linked with Rule 8. Tell the truth, or at least don't lie. Have you ever read the story of the family who pretended there was no such thing as a dragon? It's a children's book, but like all great stories, it's actually for adults. A little boy finds a dragon in his house. It's the size of a kitten. He tells his mother. She says, "There's no such thing as a dragon." So the dragon grows. It eats the boy's pancakes. It fills the hallway. The mother keeps stepping over it, maneuvering around it, insisting it doesn't exist. Eventually, the dragon gets so big it bursts out the windows and lifts the house off its foundation. This is your life. This is that awkward silence at the dinner table. This is the resentment you feel towards your boss that you never articulate. This is the vague dissatisfaction you feel with your own character. When you refuse to specify the problem, when you refuse to give it a name and a shape, it grows. It becomes a monster. Why do we do this? Why do we stay vague? Because if you define the problem, you have a specific, sharp, terrible thing to deal with. If you admit, "I am drinking too much because I am bored and lonely," well, now you have a conflict. Now you have a crisis. But if you keep it vague, if you just say, "I'm just blowing off steam," you can keep the illusion of peace. You can stay in the fog. But the fog is dangerous. In the fog, you can't see the cliff. In the fog, you can't see the predator. Precision specifies. Precision cuts the head off the hydra. If you have a pain in your stomach and you refuse to go to the doctor, that pain could be anything. It could be cancer. It could be death. It is a monster of the unknown. But if you go to the doctor and he says, "You have a gallstone," well, that sucks. It hurts. You might need surgery. But it's not everything. It's a specific thing. You can deal with a specific thing. You cannot deal with everything. This brings us to the most dangerous weapon you possess: your tongue. We use words to manipulate the world. We use spin. We try to impress people. We try to avoid conflict. We smile and say yes when we mean no. We act out a persona that isn't us. Alfred Adler called these life lies. We build a fake reality because we think we can't handle the truth. Or worse, we think we can twist reality to our will. This is the spirit of Lucifer. It is the arrogance of the intellect that thinks it knows better than reality itself. It is a totalitarian mindset that says, my theory is perfect, and if the world doesn't fit my theory, then the world is wrong and I will force it to fit. We saw where that led in the 20th century. Solzhenitsyn, the great Russian writer who survived the Soviet work camps, asked himself a terrifying question while he was rotting in the Gulag. He asked, how do we get here? And his answer wasn't just Stalin is evil. His answer was that the society was built on lies. Individual lies. The grocer who put up the workers of the world unite signed not because he believed it, but because he wanted to stay out of trouble. The neighbor who betrayed a friend to look loyal. The millions of small, daily acts of deceit that paved the road to the archipelago. If you betray yourself, if you say things you don't believe, you weaken your character. You disintegrate. And when the storm comes, and it will come, you will not have the strength to withstand it. You'll be blown away like chaff. So what is the alternative? Tell the truth. This doesn't mean you have to be cruel. It doesn't mean you share every passing thought. It means you stop manipulating. It means you stop saying things that make you feel weak. Have you ever noticed that? Try it next time you are in a conversation. Pay attention to your body. Pay attention to your gut. When you say something that is trying to impress or trying to deceive or trying to avoid a difficult reality, you will feel a little sensation of sinking. You will feel yourself coming apart. Stop saying those things. Start listening. This is Rule 9. Assume that the person you're listening to might know something you don't. True listening is not waiting for your turn to speak. It's not formulating your counter-argument while the other person is talking. True listening is a form of surrender. It is admitting that your map of the world is incomplete. I spent years as a clinical psychologist. I learned that people organize their brains by talking. We are not computers. We don't just download data. We have to narrate our lives to understand them. If you don't have anyone to listen to you, you go crazy. You become a hoarder of thoughts. You get cluttered. When you listen to someone, really listen without judgment, without trying to fix them immediately. You allow them to separate the wheat from the chaff in their own minds. You help them consolidate their memory. You help them become sane. And in return, you might learn something. You might find a tool you didn't know existed. You might find a way out of a trap you didn't even know you were in. There is a humility in this. It is a humility of Socrates, who was deemed the wisest man in Greece because he knew that he knew nothing. If you assume you know everything, you can't learn. You are deadwood. If you assume you are ignorant, you are a green shoot. You can grow. Imagine a conversation where you are not trying to win. Imagine a conversation where you are both trying to solve a problem. You are two people stumbling through a dark forest, holding torches. If you work together, if you share what you see honestly, you might find a path. If you lie to each other about what the pitfalls are, or if you refuse to listen when your partner says, "Watch out, there's a wolf," you are both going to die. So, strip away the falsehoods. Stop trying to appear smarter or better than you are. Look at the chaos in your life, the messy relationship, the stalling career, the unhappiness in your soul, and try to describe it precisely. Use your words to cut away the rot. It will hurt. It will be terrifying. But it will leave you with something solid. It will leave you with the truth. And the truth, as they say, will set you free. But what happens when the truth is unbearable? What happens when you tell the truth and you act properly and you aim high and tragedy strikes anyway? What happens when the innocent suffer? That is the hardest test of all. And that is where we are going in the final video. Have you ever had a dragon under the rug in your life? A problem you ignored until it got huge? Share your story in the comments. It might help someone else face theirs. Hit like if you're ready for the truth, and subscribe for the finale of this series.